What to do when you finish playing Pokemon. You finish a game, a lot of people pick up a Pokemon game, and what they'll do is they play through it, they beat the Elite Four, they beat the end of the game, they become the world champion, and then they put the game down and they wait for 3 or 4 years until the next game comes out. And now that they're releasing extra titles like Legends ZA and stuff like the Legends games and whatnot, we're getting a little bit more Pokemon content. But there's a lot of things to do in Pokemon games, and some people have their own ways of playing once they get done. I'm going to go through a few of them. You probably know some of these or most of them, but I don't know if anybody really spends time trying all of them out. Because if you do a lot of these things, maybe half of them, probably will kill the time until the next game comes out. I know playing Pokemon for 3 years is a long time. Obviously, you can go play other games if you want to, but with the price of games, why not get your value out of it by finding other things to do than maybe 10 or 12 hours of story? Because that seems kind of worthless to me. It really does. It's a bad value if you only play it for just the story, put the game down, go to another game to beat it. Especially since the games are built to go find all the Pokemon. Go have all the fun. There's so many trainers out there that just make silly jokes. I've got videos where I just go around talking to the NPCs, and I've had plenty of fun doing that. There's lots of secrets to find in the games. There's all sorts of stuff. But we'll get into the list of things that you can do once you beat Pokemon games. Now, the first one you can do is some of the games have a built-in postgame. Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. They have a built-in postgame in the Delta episode. When you finish the game, there's a little bit more content to play afterwards, and that's where you get Rayquaza. That's where you get Deoxys. That's where you get some of the extra stuff, and you get to introduce yourself to some other things. Like this is all after, right in here. This is all post. You beat the game, there's more to do. Now, it walks right into it, so you really can't miss this one. And pretty much the only thing to really do is battle and then catch Rayquaza. There's a little bit of story that's fun to explore. It gives you a little bit more lore. This is older games have this, because X and Y also has Looker, and there's some stuff to explore in Lumio City with him, and he's got some fun stuff to do. Sun and Moon kind of put the post game in a second game, which is a little bit sad, and then they added it as a post game, but then they sold the game separately with the post game in it. We started getting into paid DLC as post game. Now there are other things you can do. There is a little bit of post game in Sword and Shield, and there's a little bit of post game stuff in Scarlet and Violet, but this was kind of when they started selling the DLCs, the post game. There's plenty of stuff to do in most of these games, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of trainers to battle, there's plenty of secrets to find, there's plenty of items to buy in the shops that you haven't used, and now they've added so many clothing options that you can have fun playing dress up and stuff. And we'll do cosplay, because dress up sounds like a very little kid thing to do, and we're adults here. We don't play dress up. Then the next thing you can do is reruns. If you want to do some just normal post-game reruns where you pick the starter in the game and you can pick one of the other three. So you played Sword and Shield and you got your Score Bunny. Well, you can play it again with Grookey, or you can play it again with... Why do I not know this Pokemon's name? Oh no, fake Pokemon fan. I'm looking at the camera. What's the Pokemon's name? No. Let's go through it. See what we've got. We got Squirtle, Totodile, Mudkip, Piplup, Oshawott, Froakie, Poplio, Quaxley, and oh my goodness, Bulbasaur, Chikorita, Trico, Sobble. Is that your name? Now we're going to look it up just to verify that I'm not insane. Fake Pokemon fan. Whoa, is Sobble really that fast? Yeah, that's Sobble. We got it right. I know. And just so we go through, let's get Trico, Turtwig, Snivy, Chespin, Rowlet, Grookey, Sprigatito, Charmander, Cyndaquil, Torchic, Chimchar, Tapig, Fennekin, Litleo, Scorbunny, Fuecoco. That's insane. Just the starters is 27 names you have to remember. I don't think I can remember 27 people's names. I have a problem. So you played through your game with whatever fire starter, then you can play through with the grass starter and the water starter. Most of the games, the water starter or the grass starter is the easiest, the water starter is middle, and the fire starter is the hardest. Except for Scarlet and Violet, it's the opposite, because you fight bug and grass gyms right away. So you're like fire. Yeah. That makes Fuecoco very strong. All right, next thing you can do is with 27 Pokemon here already, you can just complete the decks. And you can try out the fun mechanics and as you're trying out the fun mechanics of the game, different abilities, different interactions with the different Pokemon. But it also gives you access to the next thing. When you complete the Dex, you catch all the Pokemon, you see all the fun new Pokemon, you learn some of the new mechanics, but you also, when you complete your Pokedex, you unlock the shiny hunts. Like you can shiny hunt before this, but it makes it easier because most games give you the shiny charm. So you will be able to shiny hunt much easier, put in much less of a time sink into the game than you would if you just tried to full on shiny hunt all of this stuff without any help. Plus, if you want all of the shinies, that's what you would want to do. But completing the Dex can be tedious because you are trying to evolve things without really battling. You're trying to find ways to level up things fast because some things you just have to catch the base and then evolve it 2 times or evolve it once. Sometimes you have to do some research because you have to figure out how to evolve some things. Like Malamar, most people would never think to turn their console upside down while leveling unless they already knew. And since that's the only Pokemon that does that, can you imagine trying to go through 1,000 Pokemon, leveling and turning it upside down and see if another Pokemon does that? It would be insane. And there's probably someone out there who's done it to see if there's a secret Pokemon hidden somewhere that the Pokemon company never let you know about. They didn't do that, by the way. So don't turn your console upside down 1,000 times to figure it out. Now, after you've done that and you got the shiny charm, the next thing you can do is you can shiny hunt. It lets you get rare variants of Pokemon. In some people's opinion, these look better. Different ones look better than other ones. And this can be exciting if you try to do full-on shiny hunting or try to hunt for the hardest shinies there is, because you can take a long time, put a big time sink into this, but you're going to have a hard time if you really want to do every Pokemon in each Pokedex this way. There's some people who've been shiny hunting for years and do have shiny living dexes. And it's cool. That's how they like to play. And that's how they put in years of gameplay into the game, is they go out and they shiny hunt all these Pokemon. Some of them are nice and they give those Pokemon away. Now, some of these are really good. Black Charizard is amazing. Everyone likes that. Red Gary is amazing. The con on this one is some of these, you're going to spend your time to go get them, and they're not great. You can barely even tell. And in the new games, they have like an animation that shows that they're shiny, and some of these, you need that because you would never know. This would enter the battlefield and by itself, you can't see it side by side. You have no idea that some of these are shiny. Just some of them are bad. Now, if you're not a shiny hunter, if you don't want to sit there and grind out catch after catch after catch or encounter after encounter just to get a shiny Pokemon, maybe you just want to go back and play old games. You can play the old games. Those are good. They're fun. If that's what you like, the nostalgia, or maybe whatever game you started with. They're all basically the same mechanics. Some of them are easier than others. They're similar stories. You get your starter, you fight the gyms, you fight the counter team, whatever that is. You become the world champion and you move along. And that's how all the games are. It's the basic same story. Like they do have all interesting stories built in to go alongside the catching the Pokemon, beating the gyms. In the games, either the gyms are the kind of level gating and exploration gate because you can only get certain points after you beat certain gyms. And in some games, the story itself gates you from getting to the gyms because you have to be part of the story to get to the next gym. And that kind of trickles you down so you don't just go as fast as you can, hit walls where you can't beat this Pokemon and then just go have to grind. It lets you kind of grind, level your Pokemon up while doing something entertaining that's not just battle. Even though sometimes Silph and some of the Team Rocket hideouts and stuff like that, you get in there and it is just, you're trying to not do the battles. You're trying to do the puzzle and not have to sit there and battle 100 Houndoom or 100 Raticates just to get the item that you need to wake up Snorlax or whatever you need. Now, this is also a very comfortable way to play. Let me pull this up really quickly. The only problem with this is depending on which games you want to go back and play, this could get expensive. Some of these games, the resale value on them, because they're rare but people want them, because people hold on to these because Black and White are very good games. And then when they do become available, they have a high resale value. So now this with a Nintendo DS could cost you $200 or $300 to just play Pokemon Black. You can get them online, but obviously if you don't do that, any Pokemon you catch here can't be moved forward. where if you get them legitimately, you can take these Pokemon from their whatever base game they're in, and there's ways to move them all forward into current games, and then you can take your Kyurem or your Snivy or whatever you want from here all the way with you on the like long adventures, and that's fun for people. Like that's a good way to enjoy it too. Now, my favorite thing is do the thing to enjoy the scenery, and we'll go here and look at this. I've got videos on this of me just walking around, talking to NPCs, enjoying the different parts of the game. There's lots to see. There's lots of areas to thing. There's stores, shops, and lots of stuff to do. And you can just walk around and explore and talk to all the NPCs, look at all the food. They built a lot of things into this game that they want you to look at. Why not go look at them? Why not buy all the aesthetic things you can buy, grind out a little bit of money in the game, and buy all the picnic tables, the tablecloths and all the picks and stuff like that, and use them and test them out and see how they look. There's lots of stuff to do. It's a whimsical art style. If you like the art style of Pokemon games, the anime 3D world that they've kind of built for this is good. If you want it to be realistic, to be honest, realistic Pokemon, look at the Pokemon movies. They're creepy and look like trash. Live action Pokemon movies, like, they're okay. Detective Pikachu's okay, but they're creepy looking. I don't want real texture Charizard or real texture, like, I don't want to see those things. I like the anime style. Now, the thing with this is some areas are unfinished. Some things in the games. This is an older game, but it was out for the Switch. We've upgraded consoles, so we're probably going to get better than this, but I don't know how much better. They have to give you something if you want to render the game, the full game, if you want to explore the whole game, if you want to be able to see as far as possible, render Pokemon from as far as possible, render NPCs from as far as possible. To give you some immersion, they do have to give you some flat textures and embed it, so just so it can load fast and you can move around quickly. Paper wall is better to do than having to render 3D objects all the time. So then some people, what they like to do with every game is just 100% it. Do everything there is to do in the game. I don't mean get all the shinies, do everything I already just said. I just mean buy all the items, do all the secrets, find the hidden Pokemon, beat all the trainers, and like make sure you talk to everybody and collect all of the items on the ground. Now, some of these games, like the items respawn as the day cycles go through. So you obviously can't pick up everything, but you can pick up there's lit up items in Pokeballs and stuff. You can find everything of all of those. You can talk to all the NPCs. You can do all the puzzles in the game, everything that's hidden. And in some games, there's trophies and statues and stuff you can get, and you can go ahead and get all 100% of those. So there's lots to do. The only con, though, is that battling all the roaming trainers can be a little boring, because you get to a point where all your Pokemon are leveled up and you're just one shot, and they have 3 or more Pokemon. The animations for them to send in a new Pokemon all the time, it just takes a long time. It's a little bit of a time sink for something where all you're getting is a little bit of Pokeyen and then a new dialogue option usually at the end once you beat them. And in some games you can go back and rebattle them. So this is kind of like they made it so you can make more Pokémon, and they've made it more challenging, the games where you can rebattle them. But that's just if you want to try to 100% and beat all the trainers. And I believe Let's Go Pikachu, there was master trainers where you could go back and beat them. They're a little more challenging, but not unbeatable. Now, if you like the battles and you want challenging battles because the trainer battles were too boring. If you want more challenging battles, some games have a battle tower, but you can go in the online mode and play competitive. In competitive, you get to use a lot of the more interesting mechanics in the game, the more interesting abilities. Speed's more relevant. Your defenses are more relevant in those games, in battles, in online battles. There is also lots of ways to play. There's singles, there's doubles, there's casual battles. There's competitive ranked battles that the game has. The game will have grand challenges and different tournaments throughout the year. There's online tournaments that get hosted. There's Pokemon Showdown. Pokemon Showdown has competitive chat rooms there, and there's tournaments all the time. And they have teams set up for you. You can sample and you can use, or you can build your own teams. You can have fun. And then you can go to if you want to, you can go to regionals or locals and try to qualify for worlds. Maybe that's what you want to do. Maybe you want to get into the scene like that and have real people to talk to about Pokemon battles. And that's something that's always going on regardless of the life cycle of the game. They're usually playing in the current game, the most current game that they can play in, but that's something you can do to get a little bit more life out of your $90 game. Now, if you want to challenge yourself, let's go back to competitive. There is one thing about competitive is that depending on where you're at, there is a steep learning curve. You're going to have to go in and lose a lot. You're going to have to understand some tutorials and how the mechanics of competitive battles work. Because if you don't understand what Tailwind or Trick Room are, you're probably going to have a bad time. If you don't understand the speed interactions of Pokemon, you're going to have a bad time. But if you just spend a little bit of time, you can learn. There's some basic teams out there that do well. And it doesn't take very long to get into it. But from getting into it to getting good, there is a little bit of a curve. If you've got no experience with it, good luck. You're going to have to read everything every Pokemon does to understand, unless you're willing to sit down and have fun, like learning and probably watching YouTube videos, but you can sit there and test it out yourself if you want. There are plenty of resources. You can get resources on Cerebi, whereas most people get a lot of their information. You can find a community on Showdown. There's plenty of people willing to talk about VGC, and that's all they want, right? Competitive battles, and that's all they do all day long. Now we'll get into the last of these things, and that is speedruns. Now these are challenging. It's fun to do. It's like, see how fast you can beat the game. Like, I just had to beat Scarlet as fast as I could to make sure I could get the Roaring Moon raid, because I had started over and forgot all about it, and then the raid's only for the weekend, or for a week or two, so I had to make sure I finished the game and got the 7-star raids unlocked so that I could be able to defeat it and get one to take home. One of the things about speedruns is there's lots of styles of speedruns. You can do just a basic speedrun where you're not trying to glitch the game out. You're just trying to find the best Pokemon that can get through all the gyms as fast as possible, find the fastest routes, trying to find ways to skip puzzles or get the fastest route through puzzles, like Team Rocket bases and stuff like that. Then there's like the glitch speedruns where you find a way to glitch through a wall or something, and you can just kind of skip further along in the game, and you only need one Pokemon. And what's a Pokemon you can cheese everything the last gyms with? And those are some ways. The con about this is that these, if you see here, 3 hours and 30 minutes, 4 hours and 35 minutes. Now, some of these are faster than now. There's still a time sink. You're probably not going to do this when you get off of work and before you have dinner, or you might be able to do this if that's all you're planning on doing today after school. But these are a little bit of a time sink, and you're probably not going to get these numbers on your first try. So you're probably talking 70% more than this. So you're probably going to need 7 hours in here, 6 hours, 5-6 hours in here. I don't know how you would do this. Like, this one here is probably some sort of glitched run, because I don't even think you can travel the part of the game that fast. But obviously, being a time sink, it's one of those things where you're just trying to find ways to play the game to get you till the next game anyways. If you love the Pokemon that much and you've obviously completed the Pokédex, there's reasons to speedrun besides just beating the game as fast as possible. Some games, the legendaries are all at the end of the game, and you can catch the legendary combined with Pokemon Home. Catch the legendary, send it to home. You have one with your OT. Speedrun the game, catch the legendary, right? And there's lots of Pokemon at the end of the game. There's legendaries, there's mythicals, there's all sorts of Pokemon at the end of the games that speedrunning helps you get. This is a good way to get multiple box art legendaries. This is a way to get multiple mythicals with your OT that you actually caught and you didn't have to do it. So learning to speedrun it has that added advantage. Now, those are just 8 basic ways. There's other ways people have found to kind of get the time, and then one of them kind of lines up with nostalgia, and it's ROM hacks, where people have built in more challenging versions of the old games. You play them and they're much more challenging, much more grown up, a lot harder to beat. You don't just overlevel your Pokemon and spam through gyms. You're going to have strategies and find out your own way to get through each area. It's a little bit more challenging. It's a little bit more grindy, but this is what you're trying to do. You're trying to span those gaps of time between when the games come out. More fun one for me to do outside of the regular games, where they do use ROMs, but they're not really connected to the base games, and the Pokemon you catch here, you can't really take anywhere else, just like the ROM hacks, is Pokémon MMO. Now, there's other MMOs that are Pokemon, but Pokémon MMO has a decent sized community. It is an MMO style game, so it's not the same building Pokemon as other games, but you do get to play through the games. There's several games available on Pokémon MMO. They're all the pixel art style games. They're all in the middle generation games. None of the updated, nothing Sword and Shield, Sun and Moon, or anything like that. But these pixel art games that they have in that generation, they have, and you can play through the whole game just like you would play normal. You catch Pokemon a little bit differently, but it has there's a shop in the game. You can buy Pokemon that you wouldn't be able to normally get. You can also start all of these games, all the games and stories, as long as you have them, with different starters, because you're going to have a PC box that spans across all of the games, and it makes these games more connected with Pokémon MMO than they were before. If that's what you want to do, the only problem with that is those Pokemon stay in Pokemon MMO. They don't go anywhere else. You're not going to get it's harder to get a shiny in these games because the shiny rate is not affected by anything. It's harder to train. It's harder to breed, but it is very fun. And those are all the ways that you can kind of span the gap in post game when you beat a Pokemon game. And am I done now? I just waited 3.5 years for a Pokemon game and now I'm done in 10 hours. Was that really worth it? Well, no, because there's more to do than just beat the base storyline of the game. And that's why those games last so long. And that's why they have resellability, replayability. There's so many things to do. And it's why some people just love Pokemon, because there's more to do than just play the game for the story. And I think that's all I have for tonight. If you want to see more of me and my friends, watch this video or check out my Twitch.